To begin the story of the South Georgia Peanuts, we had to travel to Prineville, Oregon, to sit down with its most famous resident, former Major League ballplayer Wally Backman.
Hi, my name is Wally Backman. Played 14 years in the major leagues with the Mets, Pirates, Phillies, Twins, and Seattle.
He was always the smallest guy on the field with the biggest heart, and it was a pleasure playing with him. It just, he inspired everybody, because if he could play that hard, why couldn't everyone?
Here's this guy who looks like he's from the 1940s. He's a little guy, he's a scrappy guy, he plays second base, he's tough as nails.
When you really think of the essence of the '86 Mets, the guys you think about are the Dykstras, the Mookie Wilsons, the Wally Backmans, the Ray Knights, guys who would get in fights, who would start fights, who were gritty, who would take absolutely anything the opposing team threw at them. I mean, the reason they won the World Series that year is because they never, ever quit. And a lot of guys on that team would say that goes directly back to a Wally Backman type of ball player.
After retiring as a player, Backman began managing in the minor leagues. He won several Manager of the Year awards while managing future major leaguers, including Aaron Rowand, Dan Uggla, and Connor Jackson.
If he didn't play hard, he jumped on you. I mean, there was no doubt about it. But that's the type of guy you want behind your back. He's just a really good players manager. And he really knows how to relate to the players. He really knows how to talk to them. I mean, he's not an intimidating guy to go up and ask questions to. And that's what you want in a manager.
On November 1st, 2004, Backman was hired to manage the Arizona Diamondbacks, a team that had lost 111 games in the previous season.
I think it was a real spark to a team that had kind of gotten boring, and they played in a boring ballpark, they wore boring uniforms, they had boring players at that point, and I think bringing a guy like Wally Backman was actually a very good idea.
You could see it in his face. I mean, at the press conference, he was so excited. I think the only people that weren't excited about Wally getting the job were some of the press in Arizona.
Reports of Backman's legal problems surfaced almost immediately. Arizona initially stood by their new manager, but media pressure continued to build. On November 5th, 2004, Backman was fired, just 4 days after accepting the job.
It basically looked like Wally Backman wanted this job so badly that he wasn't willing to admit what he did in the past. It wasn't really true. He was basically saying, you guys know everything about me. I've been working for you for X number of years. What more is there for me to tell you? And also, some of the questions that the Diamondbacks claimed to ask, Backman said they never really asked. And I actually kind of believe him.
I answered every question they asked me. They asked at the end, I think, was there anything that I wanted to add to the interview? And I didn't think that there was anything to add.
Media reports focused on a DUI arrest and a probation violation stemming from an altercation with a friend of his wife. Under state law, the incident was classified as a domestic dispute, leading many to believe Backman had abused his wife.
I think the way that people perceive it is that I got in this fight with my wife. It wasn't with my wife, it was with her girlfriend. There was some yelling, some screaming going on, and I was telling her to get the hell out of my house. She grabbed a baseball bat, and I never laid a hand on anybody, and she took a full swing at me with the baseball bat, and she tried to hit me in the head, and I put my arm up over my head, and then I ended up getting arrested in my own house doing nothing except yelling. Is basically what it was, just telling people to get out of my house.
Their media guys would constantly pop in little keywords in their stories like spousal abuse and DUI and all this other stuff, which had nothing to do with why Wally was let go. Wally was let go because of the probation violation, he was going to have to spend a couple of days in jail. And the last thing the Diamondbacks wanted was to have their manager have to spend a couple of days in jail before he took over the team.
The Diamondbacks were so unprepared. It was pathetic. It was like they were like a Division III college team, the way they handled that thing. It was a joke. He would admit willingly, I think, that there were a lot of depressing times. His wife told me how I guess after it was done, she had some pretty bad dreams, and they couldn't sleep at night. Neither of those two could sleep at night after it happened. Just, I think, shocked more than anything. Did that really happen? Was I really a Major League manager for 6 days?
It was tough. I had been on the field for basically, baseball had been my whole life. My heart was on the field, and not to be on the field for 2 years, I needed to do something to get back on the field.
He would have to start over at the lowest level of professional baseball, managing the South Georgia Peanuts of the newly formed South Coast League.
we guys have got in contact with Wally and said, there's an opportunity here with a new league. Obviously, as a new league, we want some publicity, we want some press, we want some pub.
The South Coast League and the premise of independent baseball is about second chances and giving people a platform to get back in, players and managers.
Any press is good press. Negative, positive is always good press, especially for a young startup league like ourselves. So having Wally on board was a positive thing at the end of the day.
I didn't really want to go back to independent ball. I had been in that position before, knew exactly what I wanted to accomplish, getting to the major leagues, knew that wasn't going to happen in independent baseball. So my first thoughts was not to go back to independent baseball, but yet I'd been out for 2 years after getting fired from Arizona. And I love the game, I love to be on the field, so I figured that if I had to start over again and I had to start over in independent baseball, that's where I was going to go.
He's the ultimate fighter, and he does all that kind of stuff. He's 4-1 as a professional.
And I'm not Superman, but if they throw down, I'll throw down with them.
The South Georgia Peanuts have found their manager. Former big leaguer Wally Backman will be calling Albany, Georgia home for the 2007 season. Backman, who has been out of the game for 2 years, promises to bring an exciting style of play to the Good Life City.
We're going to be exciting. We're going to be able to score a lot of runs. We're going to steal a lot of bases. We're going to go into second base hard. We're going to take guys out at second base, do it clean, but stop them from trying to turn a double play. Everybody tries to say it's old school baseball. I think that's the way the game's supposed to be played. The team is basically all based around speed. Most of the guys that I went after were guys that were released this spring training.
Steve Garibrandt, I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I was drafted by the Diamondbacks. Been with them the past 4 years. Played with Wally Backman, manager of the team, for 1 year before, and got released this year, and that's how I came here.
My name's Doc Brooks. I'm from Phoenix City, Alabama, and I played 6 years of minor league baseball. And I found out Wally was coaching here, and I played for him before, so I just wanted to play for him again.
$75,000 per team is the player salary cap.
Low man gets paid about $700 a month to $2,000 a month at the highest possible level.
$75,000, I think when I remember seeing Alex Rodriguez's breakdown, I think that's what he makes in like 2 games or something like that, is $75,000.
Steve Butler, St. Paul, Minnesota is where I'm from.
Travis Hunley, I'm from Farron, Virginia.
Jared Sutton, I'm from Kinston, North Carolina.
They're playing the game because they love the game, basically. There's a lot of players that get overlooked, that don't get a fair opportunity to do the things that they're capable of doing. And, that's kind of what independent baseball is about.
Mike Colaccio from Essex Junction, Vermont, 24 years old, right-handed pitcher.
Johnny Washington, shortstop from Compton, California.
My name is Pat Ford. I'm a left-handed pitcher from Point Pleasant, New Jersey.
My name is Chris Dimmons from Augusta, Georgia.
Tug Gillingham, catcher from Maywood, Illinois.
Well, I'm Damien Dantivo. I used to play professional in Missouri. 2005, and I had the time off just doing martial arts and stuff.
He's the ultimate fighter, and he does all that kind of stuff. He's 4-1 as a professional in the fighting side of it.
Damien Dantivo!
I've been doing it 4 years, and I'm not Superman, but if they throw down, I'll throw down with them.
He's got some maturing to do, I think. And, I think that we can do that at this level and help him arm strength-wise and all those things. Yeah, the kid shouldn't be here. He should be pitching for somebody, but he's one of many that should be somewhere else.
My name is Josh Coles, pitcher for the South Georgia Peanuts, and I'm from Redlands, California, long ways away from home. But I was drafted out of high school as an outfielder, and last year I converted to a pitcher. That's definitely been an interesting adjustment, but I love it though. Ooh. So much for that. I'm sorry, I got kind of sidetracked. Yeah, you have to love it. Because with the conditions that we're playing with, the long bus rides, and the money, the money is good enough just to get by, but you have to love it because you go crazy if you don't.
On the eve of their first game, the Peanuts moved into their new homes. The team would be spending the season in an old military housing complex. Each 3-bedroom house would be home to 7 Peanuts, 2 players in each bedroom, and 1 player would be sleeping in the living room. Each player would get 1 mattress and they would all be sleeping on the floor.
Everything was all good when we moved in and then the alarms started going off.
These alarms were like air raid sirens.
Our whole team's outside. Alarms start going off. People were just standing outside, and it was just kind of a mess.
League representative Omar Roque attempted to make sense of the chaos.
He got on his cell phone, and we just kind of had to sit there and wait.
I mean, he didn't even know how to turn the alarms off either. He wasn't too pleased. I thought they were going to call the cops because we're breaking in. There's like a mob of 20 people going into these houses and the alarms are going off. I don't think we made a great first impression on the neighbors when we moved in there.
Yeah, because once you pass that motion sensor right there, then that's when it go off. Anybody care for some M&M? M&M, you want some M&M? No, I'm good.
As the Peanuts waited for someone to turn off the alarms, their manager was having no problem adjusting to his new home.
They were going to pay for all my travel, which they did. They were going to pay for me to have a place to stay and things like that. But you know what? I got this big RV, and all it would have done was sit at home all summer. You know, I've always been an outdoorsman. You know, I love the outdoors. I love to fish. I love to hunt. So I've always had something. I bought a brand new motorhome in 1983 and lived in it in New Jersey and had to drive back and forth to Shea Stadium every day, and I enjoyed it. It bugs. You wouldn't think. I mean, this is luxury if you take it hunting. For cold nights, we turn on the fireplace.
The South Georgia Peanuts will open the season on the road, but manager Wally Backman will not be with the team.
My roots as a player are really still in New York. I probably would not have taken this team in South Georgia if they'd have said, no, you're not going, Wally.
The South Coast League is ready to play ball, and this upstart league will play by its own rules. It will be the only league to play without a designated hitter. The Good Life City's very own South Georgia Peanuts will battle for the league title against 5 other teams: the Bradenton Juice, the Charlotte County Redfish, the Macon Music, the Anderson Joes, and the Aiken Foxhounds.
There's been history, independent history, in a lot of these cities that we're currently in. The Macon Peaches were part of the Southeastern League that folded. That was successful for 2 years. But we already feel that we're a lot more structured and a lot more detail-oriented in every little bit of the organization.
Our goals from an attendance standpoint are pretty humble. I mean, we didn't come and expect them to draw 5,000 people a night into these markets. We wanted to average at least 1,000 actual people in the stadium a night across the league. It's important to note that it's the South Georgia Peanuts and not the Albany Peanuts, because the region is a big baseball country down here.
The South Georgia Peanuts would be playing their home games in Albany, Georgia, also known as the Good Life City, population 76,900.
I'm Buddy York. I'm the pitching coach here with the Peanuts. I'm from this town, from Albany. Actually, was born here. We're about 170 miles south of Atlanta.
It's about 55 miles east of Alabama, which is where I grew up on the Georgia-Alabama line. It's about 175 miles. We go to the north to get to Atlanta.
It's in the middle of nowhere, and then you go further in the middle of nowhere, pretty much.
It's pretty much 3 hours from anywhere. It's 3 hours from Augusta, 3 hours from Atlanta, Savannah, you know, all the beaches and stuff like that, a couple hours from Macon, so it's as far south as you get.
There's really nothing to do. You know, honestly, I mean, I'm used to Chicago. It's, you know, a pretty happening city. You know, there's a lot of churches. From what I understand, this is the Bible Belt.
It's a little bit different than what I'm used to, you know, from a big place, Phoenix, but I mean, it's nice. People are nice. The only thing is a little bit too many gnats.
Bugs, I mean, I got bug bites all over my legs. Yeah, the bugs have been kind of nasty so far.
The bugs are everywhere. The field, the hotel, I mean, everywhere.
From what I've seen, it's a good town. You know, there's everything here, just like any other city. You know, I mean, you want to go shopping, you go shopping. You want to go out and eat, they got nice places to go out and eat.
The South Georgia Peanuts will open the season on the road when they take on the Charlotte County Redfish, but manager Wally Backman will not be with the team. While the team is on the bus to Florida, Backman will be flying to New York for an autograph show.
yo, fresh out the Cleveland right here. Finna go on over here. We finna go to Florida, Port Charlotte, finna get some hits. I'll see y'all when I get back.
While the Peanuts made the 8-hour bus trip from Georgia to Florida, their manager was flying to New York to appear at an autograph show.
Ownership probably wasn't happy that I was going to miss the first 2 games, but it was a prior engagement.
And that had been prearranged, and that had been sort of negotiated in. That was a prior commitment. And one of the things that made it pretty easy is the team opened on the road.
I was frustrated by it because Wally's part of the show. Wally's part of the nostalgia of the South Georgia Peanuts. He's a name, and he's an important part of both the team and the South Coast League.
I discussed that with the South Coast League, and everybody was hunky-dory about it. It was fine. I probably, to be honest with you, probably would not have taken this team in South Georgia if they'd have said, no, you're not going, Wally.
You know, just meeting Wally, how important that is to him, and so it's really easy to understand why he would do it. I mean, I would do it.
My roots as a player are really still in New York. Those people in New York were always on my side, and I wasn't going to let them down by missing that and missing 1 game, basically, in the South Coast League when I had a very qualified guy that could take over the team for a day or 2.
Where are you coaching?
Albany, Georgia.
Oh, in Georgia.
You bet.
Wham!
I heard he died. I couldn't believe it.
I didn't think he was dead. Just hope, you're hoping he was all right.
I've never seen anything like that.
My name is Steven Tricarico. I'm from Sterling, Virginia, and I'm the general manager of the Charlotte County Redfish. I was an intern for the Salem Avalanche just 3 years ago. All the hard work's paid off, a lot of long hours and a lot of hard work from me and my entire staff, and it's just extremely rewarding to finally see baseball played and a season on the way.
With manager Wally Backman in New York for an autograph show, hitting coach Larry Ohlenberger took over as acting manager. The start of the season was just moments away, and the paid crowd of 2,459 Charlotte County Redfish fans watched as the first game ball was delivered by a skydiver.
I don't know if you've ever seen skydivers before, but they do this circling thing, like right before they get to land, because they got the special things where they pull one way or the other. And we're sitting there going, something's wrong here.
Everyone knew there's no way this guy's making it over.
Wham!
He definitely just crashed right into the top of the palm trees, and we all thought he was dead.
I didn't think he was dead because you could kind of see him hit the tree and then kind of drop, So just hope, you're hoping he was all right.
He was all right. He was fine. It was great, that he was fine, but I've never seen anything like that.
I heard he died. I couldn't believe it, and that was what the story was going around, and I'm thinking, Jesus, that guy coming, for a first game of the season, missing the field, hitting the palm tree or whatever it was. I wasn't there, didn't see it, knowing the guy didn't get hurt, it is kind of funny now, but thinking, at the time, it's a serious issue.
It worked out for the best because certainly a lot of people were talking about it the next day. Had he landed on the field, I'm sure people would have said, yeah, they had 2 skydivers, but hey, we had a skydiver that hit the outfield wall, so it was something very interesting, I guess, for opening day, something I'll always remember.
On the next, Playing for Peanuts. The Peanuts get off to a slow start on opening day, and the team isn't happy with the on-field promotions.
The promotions were taking way too long in between innings, so it was kind of, cutting off your momentum going in between each inning.
Do you have any control on it or not?
No, not me.
No? Okay. You can't tell them to cut it off or anything?
Well, if it gets real bad, I can shut it down, but
Obviously, being down by 5 runs early like that kind of curtailed a few things. And then they're kind of, still doing their promotions while we're ready to play the game, and it was kind of disrupting things. The players were getting a little disturbed about it and stuff.
So we got a little rally going. We got guys on base, and poof, the lights go out.
We don't fly, we take buses everywhere, and it's definitely not as glamorous as everyone thinks it is. Can I get a number 6, large?
That was just fun. I mean, that's just being goofy, and you're not going to see any of those people again in your life. So you go out and you be goofy and you have fun. You try to break up the monotony of playing baseball, the same routine every day.
Visit playingforpeanuts.com to watch deleted scenes and to order the DVD of this show.
I'm in.